So there's a new video game out there called Power Rangers Rita's Revenge, and I have not yet played it, and I will play it.
Wait, what is that?
It's like Shredder's Revenge, TMNT.
Oh, okay. I actually have not heard of that at all. Wow.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. The trailer looks incredible, actually, but the reviews have been a little mixed. It looks like it's for me.
Okay.
Maybe I'll even emulate it. Maybe I'll stick it on this fucking thing, even though I own a Switch. I'd be happy to pay them money for this. But I don't know. Once you have an Odin 2, you're like, I kind of want to play everything on the Odin 2. So there was a video that released starring Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger. He played Jason, and Walter Jones, who played Zach, the original Black Ranger. And the video is called "Why We Left" or "Why We Left the Show" or something. Did you watch Power Rangers as a kid?
I watched it. I don't remember it probably as much as you do.
Yeah,
I did watch it. I had some action figures. I watched the movie, and then I was out.
And so you know the lore, right? There's this guy, Chaim Saban, who he had written a bunch of kids' television music. He wrote the theme songs for a lot of shows. And he was in Japan, and he saw Super Sentai, and he was like, this is really fun. And he came up with this brilliant idea to steal the footage and or license it, and kind of fashion a story around it that's like Saved by the Bell or something and make $1 billion. And that's exactly what he did. It's an incredible success.
It is a pretty good idea. Like license footage and that you think looks awesome and make a story around it.
Could you ever get away with it today, though? Like you just took it was a point in time kind of thing, I suppose.
It was definitely a point in time thing.
I remember when it came out, I remember being like, this looks kind of cool. I guess I'll check it out. And then just getting sucked in because I don't know, there's just this Saved by the Bell superhero thing just worked.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool, and their weapons and the battles, they were all really cool.
Kids love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are great.
Oh, you know what? Because people were sharing, because I think there was like the CW show, like Superman and Lois ended recently, and they were like, people on Twitter were like, oh, it's so awesome, this ended, it was great. And I saw like clips of the like battles and that, and I'm like, this is Power Rangers. This is Power Rangers for like adults.
I saw some behind the scenes footage of dudes in Zord costumes from the 90s knocking over fake shitty looking buildings and stuff. I was like, this is great. Like this would be so much fun if this was your job. They always had like sparks flying out of it was always sparks.
Yeah, it was yeah, it was little firecrackers.
You could take a sword and stick it in a guy's stomach and sparks would fly out.
It was awesome.
Stick it in his ass and some sparks would fly out. So, in season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, there was a very, very important event that happened that has imprinted on every young man's and young woman's memory if they watched, which was 3 of the original 5 left the show. And very unceremoniously, let me say. That was Jason, Zach, and Trini, red, black, and yellow Power Rangers. Even as a 3rd grader, I remember being like, how come they're not really in the show? Like there's been like many episodes. And then there's these 3 new characters, Aisha, Rocky, and Adam, who seem to be, they're just like civvies that are hanging around the Power Rangers a whole lot. This is odd. And then, they did like this like ceremony where they transferred the power with a power sword, but like the 3 that needed to depart like stayed in costume the whole time. Wow. They were like off the show and they needed to like come up with a story reason why 3 Rangers were leaving.
Zordon, we can't go to the peace conference. Not now.
There has to be another way.
Here we are on this hit show that we created. I definitely don't want to leave. I definitely want to do the movie. This movie is the legacy of what we created.
It was the pinnacle.
It's the pinnacle. It's like this is like gonna be the highest point of what Power Rangers has been thus far.
Now, of course, the lady who played Trini, she died in a car accident in like 2002 or something, so she's not here to tell the story. But Zach and Jason are, Walter Jones and Austin St. John. Austin St. John had gotten some kind of trouble related to COVID, some kind of fraud or something.
Wow, I don't know, man.
Odd COVID fraud. Anyway, we may, based on what I'm about to tell you, it may all make sense. The guy may be broke. So they were like, all right, here's the deal. I had always heard that Power Rangers was non-union didn't pay very well. These guys spill the tea. These guys tell the story.
The show, the TV show itself, was non-union. So originally we got a contract, and the contract was not that great.
Walter Jones was a little bit older. Austin St. John was a little bit young. He was like 19 or I think even 18. He was like, when they were signing me, I was underage, and we had to like postmark my start date like past my birthday or something. Walter Jones was a little bit older. And Walter Jones was like, the reason I took it was because even though it paid nothing and it was a terrible contract, it was 40 episodes, and no show signs you for 40 episodes. And the reason it was 40 episodes is because they had all this fucking footage. And so even if the show wasn't that successful, why not run a ton of it? You know, like why not? So he's like, if nothing else, I'll be able to say I was the lead on a show, or one of the 5 leads on a show for 40 episodes. And Austin St. John was like, I signed it because I just wanted to be a superhero on television. And they were like, we distinctly remember, they handed us the contract, and we were like, should we run this by, it would be okay if we ran this by a lawyer or an agent or something, because they didn't even have agents at that time. And they were like, you can, but if you want to redline, if we get wind that you want to redline anything, you're fired and somebody else is in.
Wow.
Because we got like 300 other kids that want to do this.
So I didn't know anything, and I can remember them looking at me, and I was like, shouldn't I have like my mom or dad here or an agent? And they looked at me and they're like, there are about 300 other people outside that door that will sign that if you don't.
So the show became not popular.
Yeah, it was a mega hit.
Very popular.
Trapper Keepers, like everything. You could get pencil boxes. It was everywhere.
They were like, we were on the cover of TV Guide, which back then was a big deal. It was the #1 show in the world, #1. And they were like, we remember, like, Saban came to us and kind of said it almost like passively. He was like, hey guys, congratulations, we're #1 in the world. So
Within the first week,
Yeah.
they told us, congratulations, guys.
Your show is #1 in the world.
#1, and then we're sitting down looking at each other like, did you say the word?
Yeah.
we're going to talk numbers, okay? What for 40 episodes, what do you reckon, Kimberly, you know, let's say I watched an Amy Jo Johnson interview, and she actually said a number. What do you think they were getting paid per episode?
Per episode. Oh my God. And so it was 40 episodes.
You got signed for 40 episodes for season 1.
$1,000?
Yeah, $700.
Wow.
So you're making less than 40 grand for a year's work, you know. So that's like, school nurses make more than that. Like this is this, and they were like, yeah, we were broke. So the whole thing was, we kept, and they said, and the crew was getting really fucked. Like the crew wasn't getting paid anything. And so they kept telling us, they're like, you guys should try to unionize, or you guys should try to, walk off the show. You should do something in solidarity, because it's just frankly unfair. So in the 90s, right, we're talking about 1993, 1994, the season 1 made $1 billion.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
It's on the backs of these kids. Like they were the heroes. You know?
They were the hero. People, they wanted to be those kids. They wanted to be those heroes.
Like, we didn't just create the #1 show in the world. Well, not create, but we're the faces of it.
We're the faces of it. We are the creation of our character.
That's right.
Like, I'm sure Saban thought, like, it could be any kids. But I'm like, I don't think so. I think it could, I think that there was something magic there, you know? I mean, here we are 30 years later, and, like, that's the cast that everybody remembers.
Of course.
And before Trini got swapped out with Tui Trang, who played her, she was played by somebody else. And there's actually like an unaired pilot. It was like almost like a test pilot or something. But apparently she wanted to change the contract terms, and she got fired.
Oh, she's gone.
And after the pilot got picked up, she knew then we were going to get screwed. And she went to Haim Saban and was like, hey, this is jacked. You need to pay us more. And he fired her.
Yep.
And he liked her. Like, they got along.
Yeah.
And the whole thing starts to be so fucking scummy, where you're like, it starts with, let me take footage I didn't make.
I don't have that much of a problem, because you're licensing the footage.
I don't have a problem with it if that's where it stops. But it's like, so first I'm going to take something I didn't even make. I'm going to slap a shit story around it, and I'm going to pay some kids nothing, and I'm going to take home $1 billion.
Okay, if you put in the whole picture, yes.
Like, once the details start to compound. So their whole thing, they were like, all right, well, season 2, right? Like, we have an opportunity to maybe, now could we do, when we contract for more episodes, could that be different? And he was like, season 2, they said we were offered some, like, that if we did a commercial for this, like, this car, each of us would get a car. and they were like, we didn't get to pick the color or anything like that. Like we just like, here's your car. Like so that, but they were like, we were pretty psyched because that was like a payday in a sense. So they were like, we were really famous, but we couldn't afford like our own car. We certainly couldn't afford a house. Like nobody could buy a house on this money. They also complained. They were like, we didn't even get the toys. We kept expecting. We were hoping we could get like some like copies of the toys or something. Like none of
these
that.
toys with your likeness on it.
We didn't even get the toys. That was weird. Why didn't they give us the toys?
And then this is where shit gets real. So they kept being told like there might be a movie. There might be a movie. There might be a movie. We're going to do a feature film. 20th Century Fox wants to do a feature film. And so like, oh, okay. And then, and the movie is going to actually, the budget's going to be $40 million. Now, 1995, $40 million movie was a big movie. I remember the biggest budget of all time, and it wasn't even close at the time. There were only a few like this, but Titanic at 200 mil in 1996 was like unheard of. So 40 million was a big deal.
There's gonna be new costumes. It's gonna be big. This big budget.
$40 million film.
Yes.
And you get to go to Australia.
And then we get the contract.
It was a joke.
And so they were presented a 3-picture deal. So you're not signing for one movie. You're signing for 3 movies. That's the contract. No redlining. And if you do, you will get paid $20,000 to be in this movie.
No fucking way.
Right. And if they decide to go for movie 2 and movie 3, there were escalations built in, were $6,000. So the next one you get 26, and the last one you get 32.
Wow.
And they were like, this is a fucking joke.
That is a joke. A $1 billion franchise.
I just can't understand. Like, why not take care of the people who made you successful? This is not hard. This is a good business, Frank. Who am I to say? The guy is I believe Saban is worth several $1 billion or something.
Now funding like Kevin Smith and stuff.
Fucking, what kind of front is that? What kind of weird mob front is he up to? There was the whole thing, right, where he sold Power Rangers to Disney, and then for like a pretty low amount because like the brand had been hurt, and then he bought it back. No, he sold it high rather because the brand was in good shape because they wanted the toys, and then he bought it back because they kind of hurt the brand a lot, and so he made a shitload of money just on leaving it and getting it back. So this dude just like keeps doing this. Like again, that's not slimy. That's good business, but like it just feels like over and over again he kept cashing in when didn't feel like merit to me.
Yeah, he could have a little heart with it.
And then worst of all, so the 6 Power Rangers, so now Tommy is involved, Jason David Frank, rest in peace. They were all going to walk off the show together if something didn't happen. And then at the last minute 3 of them didn't. So at the last minute, Tommy, Billy, and Kimberly said, no, for their own reasons, we're going to stick around.
Oh, no.
And that just turned into the other 3 leaving, and they were not in the movie. And so they were saying, like, to this day, that's our biggest regret, is it would have been really cool if the original cast had been in the original movie, the big Power Rangers movie. And as a fan, I'm like, it sucks that didn't happen. Like, that would have been the much preferred movie for me.
That would have been better.
I am still disappointed that I didn't do that film because I think the film with the 6 original Rangers would have been amazing if we were all in.
And they said, they were like, once we left, we started doing like car shows. And like one time we like filled a stadium just doing autographs. Like, so they said we got in trouble. Like Saban didn't want us out there doing autographs for Power Rangers. But they were like, but we made in a weekend $40,000.
Oh,
which we had just made for a whole season of work. So they were like, suddenly we realized like we could be making a tremendous amount of money just, and then, the rest of their lives have become cons and, conventions and this sort of thing. Oh yeah. I heard that, the actor who played Zordon, Zordon's always, his lips are like blurring
like
all the time.
A day worth of work.
Yeah. It was one day and he made $1,000, that guy. And he was in every single episode of Power Rangers. Yeah. Saban's worth $3.1 billion. Just to put it into perspective, the Power Rangers, the original OG cast of Power Rangers was making less making that show than Kieran made from Screenwave. Kieran's got less to complain about than Kimberly the Power Ranger. But then they got to go back and do Once and Always, right? The Netflix one.
Yeah, I remember seeing them. Yeah, and
like the Walter Jones, the guy who plays Zach, he had not been on the show since he left. So it was like 27 years or something, and he got to be a Power Ranger again, which is pretty awesome. And
you saw that? Was it?
Yeah, I saw it. We reviewed it on here. It was pretty good. I mean, it was a little weird. It was like really melodramatic and kind of like a little, I don't know, like low IQ or something. But it was cool. It was cool to see Power Rangers. I mean, instead of it being some new thing, like it was anytime I tried.
How do they explain Zach being away that long? Do they ever explain?
They really didn't do it. They imply that like the original Rangers are still out there doing shit. Like that. But like Rita's a robot for some reason. She got a robot face. And actually this video game is based on that because she's Robo Rita in the video game. So there is kind of a new lore. And yeah, Walter Jones was saying that it was a union shoot, and that's the reason he said yes. He's like, okay, as long as it's union. I don't know what his salary was, but I bet you it wasn't much. Because you always hear about like they do these reunion episodes and they'll ask tons of old cast members, and a lot of times they're like, I'd like to be back on the show. I think it'd be cool to connect with fans, but like they're not even like flying me out, you know, like they're not super cheap about this. I don't understand the cheapness. I really don't.
Just like super ruthless capitalist. Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, but the thing is, it's supposed to be the case that if you're a complete cunt, nobody wants to work with you.
Yeah.
But I guess he holds the keys. He has the IP. They should make their own damn Power Rangers and get sued.
It's so sad that they're leaving.
Yeah, Alpha, it is sad to see him go. But on the other hand, it's really exciting to have 3 new Power Rangers joining us.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.